It was a deep black and freezing night shrouded in thick fog. Around me, the tall majestic trees stood like giants. I was an officer in the forest department. And at that time I and one of my stunts were standing next to the carcasses of animals lying on the edge of a swamp. These were 2 buffaloes. I bent down and examined them closely in the light of the flashlight. It felt as if these 2 had fallen from a height. Their bodies were still warm, meaning that they had died not long ago. There was a high hill nearby, which at that time presented a terrifying sight in the dark. Both of them have died due to falling from a height, but I don't understand. What were they doing on the rock at that time of night? And then how both fell at the same time? I said in a confused tone. I have been telling you since the first day that this forest is a mystery. A mystery that has not been revealed to anyone till date. Winds were blowing in my stunned face. He had just finished speaking when the trunk of the nearby tree shook 2 or 3 times. As if some powerful monster had shaken him with all his might. I had my service revolver out. After that there was a terrible silence for some time. So loud that even a pin would fall at that time. So his voice was clearly heard. Both I and my stunt stood still in place. After a long time, my stunt and I returned from there. In the morning we picked up those bodies from there. We were just speculating about the mysterious death of these buffaloes. That the next day, the bodies of some more animals were found in the same place. These bodies were discovered by a soldier on patrol. And the surprising thing was that he died in exactly the same way. That is, from falling off the cliff, and the time was almost the same. Which was a completely similar and beyond reason thing. Sir, I have a thought running through my mind. I felt his voice coming from a distance. I looked at him questioningly. Sir, I think animals are committing suicide. I was shocked after listening to him. He said his words and got up and left. But this made me think a lot. Mysterious animal deaths continued. And in the next few days we had to pick up more animal carcasses from the same place. This could not be hidden. And a reporter ran about it in the local newspaper. After that I was asked by the authorities to investigate the matter as soon as possible. Sir, I am very scared. My stunt said. At that time we were hiding behind a big stone of the same rock. It was exactly that time. At the time animals died by falling from this rock. And today I came determined that this matter has to be taken to its logical conclusion. We hid behind a stone shivering in the cold all night. But nothing happened that night. This was our routine for the next few days. We would hide somewhere on this rock as soon as night fell. But nothing remarkable happened. After these events stopped, I also breathed a sigh of relief. But my satisfaction could not last long. A soldier on patrol gave the same news again on the walkie-talkie. I did not even wear my uniform because I was not on duty at that time. Everything was enveloped in fog. In the dark and dense forest, the light of my flashlight seemed to be the light of a lamp. When I would step on the leaves of a tree spread on the ground, the sound of dry leaves would create a strange atmosphere in the atmosphere. I proceeded slowly and cautiously. I approached the rock and began to examine it with keen eyes. Finally, after a couple of hours of exploration, I managed to discover the edge of a cave there, which was hidden behind a special kind of tall bushes found in this forest. I called the name of Allah and entered the cave. The cave was inhabited by several large bats. I ignored them and moved on. Suddenly I felt as if some creature had hit me on the shoulder. I turned around like lightning, but it was a bat, who was expressing displeasure at the uninvited guest. I gave him such a low and high 30 in my heart and moved on. This cave kept on moving forward. Sometimes I felt as if the cave was going higher. Finally, the cave seemed to end at one point. On the brink were the same grassy bushes as on the first brink. After a short struggle I managed to cross them. Now in front of me was a huge lake surrounded by bushes and trees. There I saw a strange sight. A light steam was rising from the lake. which was also reaching me. But surprisingly she was very cold. A few seconds must have passed when some animals came to the lake to drink water. It is possible that there is another access route from which these animals came here. However, the animals started drinking water from the lake. Then suddenly, as if the animals were startled by the sound of something. And then they became still in place. A monstrous creature emerged from the water of the lake. Its body was completely black. It looked like a creature from the dinosaur family. All the animals were looking at him in a state of trance. Then a strange light came out from the eyes of this dinosaur-like creature and fell on the animals. And they all walked together in a state of trance. My stunt's words echoed in my ears. "Sir, this forest is such a mystery, which could not be opened on anyone until today." The creature had now disappeared into the water. I slowly stepped back and came out of there through the cave. I immediately told my stint on the walkie-talkie to reach the cliff and walk there himself. After some time I and my stunt had reached this rock. The same animals came here in a herd and started falling down the cliff one by one. In simple words, they were all committing suicide. Me and my stunt could not do anything despite wanting. I wrote to the higher authorities about this, but they did not take my words seriously. Before I could do anything, I was transferred from there. What was that creature? And why and how the animals were being forced to commit suicide? It is a mystery that is still shrouded in a thick fog.